Prepare to experience the strongest radio allowable by law. Secrets will be revealed. Myths dispelled. From the studio gym where excuses never apply, it's Superhuman Radio with your host, Carl Lenore.
I know everybody thinks I'm on a real TV set, and I just literally moved the entire wall. Did you see that at the beginning of the show? Welcome back to another episode of Superhuman Radio. Today is Tuesday. We have the Blueprint Power Hour today, where we answer your questions and comments live while you're watching the show. So feel free to post your comments. I'm opening up Facebook right now so that I can make sure that people can post comments. Facebook is weird. Even though when I create the show and post it, and I put it, it's available for anyone to watch, I always have to go back in and reset it because they make it so that only people that follow me can watch it. I'm doing that right now. Before we get started, we're going to thank our title sponsor, and that's Legendary Foods. Here we go. Hold on. Let me just get this Facebook thing done. Okay. Makers of the Tasty Pastry. If you haven't tried it, you're missing out. It's better than a protein bar ever was, and it has less than 1 gram of sugar, 20 grams of high-quality protein, 4 to 5 net carbs if you're a low-carb guy or keto person. They taste amazing. They're releasing some new flavors, too. I can't wait to see what they are. Go to shrnetwork.biz/legendary. Use the code SHR10 to save 10% off every day. And without further delay, let me get Rob on and play his music. I got too much going on here, Rob. Sit tight.
Calling all Blueprint Army. Fall in line. It's time for the Blueprint Power Hour with Coach Rob Regish on the Superhuman Radio Network.
I just hacked up a lung. How you doing, Rob?
I'm doing great. How about you?
Good. Right before the show, I just got all congested, so I may have to kill my mic and blow my nose here in a minute. Anyway, what's new with the training?
The training is going well. I actually last Thursday I tweaked my back during the middle of a sled sprint. However, it was minor and it healed up sufficiently, so I hit it hard yesterday, and it went great. Yeah.
So this was not your lower back, you said, right?
Right. This was a little different. It was actually in the mid back, and it was painful. Don't get me wrong. I could not really sit up for the better part of, let's say, the rest of that day. But I did a few things that I'll talk about later that I think really helped, and maybe I can pass those along.
You're not going to believe this. All of the banners that I created for today's show with everybody's questions have disappeared. Well, that's okay. I'll be able to read the questions. We just can't put them up on the screen. Sorry about that. I don't know what happened, but hold on one second. Man, there's a lot to do. All right, so here we go. Let's get to the first question. Hold on one second. Coach Rob Regish.
Actually, I have some news about Synthogen. Do you mind if I?
Yeah, please, let's do that. Yeah, talk about that.
So, great news for Synthogen fans. After being sold out for weeks, we now have plenty in stock. And this batch of Synthogen, by the way, is the first that's using stearate-free capsules, which is an issue for some people. We've heard about it for a long time, and finally able to get a batch done free of stearate. So to celebrate, we are doing a 21% off sale, and you just use the code word SPRING, and you get that whopping 21% off Mass Pro Synthogen. So bodybuilding supplements.com for more info. On a quick side note, I know some people have asked about Tranquillogen. We're getting a new batch of that in on April 21st. It has been reformulated with the KSM66 branded ashwagandha extract that's used in at least 22 medical studies. Great material. We were able to get it at a great price, and we're going to pass it along to the customers.
What's the big deal with stearate? Stearate is a type of fat that's been shown to help you lose body fat.
We get well, we get emails from time to time. Um, People take issue with it, and for some
Are they
people, I think
vegans? Is that why? Are they vegans?
some are vegans. Some say it causes cancer. Some have other concerns. So, it's a I would say it's a minor thing, but to them it's not. It's a very big thing, and we do our best, to meet customer demand. So everything else is the same, just a steroid-free capsule. Yeah.
So the porn spammers are back. I'm blocking them right now. They seem to know that this show is every Tuesday. It's the only thing I can think of.
Oh God.
They're such pieces of shit. Um, that never occurred. Block user. Let's see if I can block this
Who are
user.
they? Do you think these people are like the competition, or are they
Somebody
just?
said that they're robots. They know that we start the show on Tuesdays, and naked high def jerk off advertise wet girls are here. He's,
Wow,
he's, yeah, they're not hiding anything.
oh God.
They're just scumbags. That's all. These scumbags, like
Right.
so many in this country today. All right, let me get the first question because I'm just gonna have to read everything today and I can't put it up. This is from Mike Andrews. He said, your piece on Louis Simmons last week was great. I really enjoyed it. My question is, does West Side work if you're not using drugs? Of course it does. Louis was pretty open that he was using. And like he said, he was using for over 40 years. So it makes me wonder.
Yeah, more than a few people have brought this up, and it's a well-documented fact that West Side works for naturals as well as geared lifters. Now, you may have to, modulate the volume a little bit or the frequency, uh, but it works, and it works great for the vast majority of people that use it. It's no mystery why. Drugs or no drugs, it works so well. It uses very solid principles, and in particular, uh, the um, max effort method, for example. Nobody ever got bigger and stronger lifting lighter, right? Hence the validity of that method. And Louis, of course, has added accommodating resistance and encouraged guys to rotate variations of lifts to better avoid plateaus. But facts are facts. Max effort method is excellent, as is the dynamic effort method. That's still valid because drugs or not, math changes for nobody. Force still equals mass times acceleration. You need both, and that's the acceleration is what the dynamic effort method is all about. And then the repetition method, right? It also still stands. Doing more reps with a given weight or racking up the total tonnage has always been a valid way or ways of overloading a muscle. You put all three of those together, and every time you will get a stronger, faster athlete, drugs or not, right? So hopefully that's the short answer. You can also see that, for example, in what he refers to as GPP or general physical preparedness. He was a huge advocate of things like pushing and pulling sleds, which undeniably builds a bigger base of work capacity. And again, drugs or not, the wider the base that you have, the more work you can tolerate and the faster you'll recover. Louis' take on diet was it was drug agnostic, I guess I'd call it, as well. You needed to eat. You need to eat and eat and eat and eat. And so they ate when they got hungry. They ate big, and they continued to do it day in and day out. Matter of fact, he was famous for taking his guys out to breakfast, I guess, every day. Bob Evans is also Bob Evans gravy is mentioned frequently. Like Wade says, pizza's anabolic. So the point is calories. Drugs or no drugs, you need to eat big to lift big. And then finally, there was what Louis said himself about drug use and those that choose to use. What he said was, and this is pretty much the only thing he has said. He said, get on a low to moderate dose of something that works and stay on it. And if I'm not mistaken, he favored, I think, a moderate dose of Larablin or something along those lines, which, should have recovered him nicely to deal with extremely high training workloads and perhaps boosted his appetite. But think about it. There was nothing elaborate there. There's no gonzo cycles of 2 dozen different drugs with peaks and tapers and all this nonsense. No, Louis understood what got you strong was the work, was the training. And that's where he put 99% of his energies, both physical and mental, doing everything from exploring different combinations of bands, chains, and bar weight to building new, completely novel pieces of strength training equipment. So think about that for a minute, right? Let it really sink in. The foremost training powerlifting authority on the planet. And what's he doing? He's spending all of his time searching, excuse me, he's not spending all his time searching for exotic drugs to get bigger and stronger. Nor was he taking scary big amounts. No, the most powerful, knowledgeable powerlifter on earth spent maybe 1% of his time on those drugs and 99% figuring out better and more efficient ways to train. So perhaps this example sums it up best. Louis once said, I think you mentioned this last week too. He kept a vial of test up on the wall in his office. He said, I've never seen it lift 1 pound of weight. So, the best in the world says, if you're going to use drugs, do this, and then everything else was training related. There's a
And
lot.
just for the record, Laurabolin is not a very strong drug.
Right, isn't it like a mild EQ or something like that?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's like Boldenone maybe, which is equipoise. It's very similar to that. Kevin Waterman says, I'm an old powerlifter, 55, and unfortunately have the injuries that go with it. Join the club. Specifically, L4, L5 vertebrae and SI joints are so out of whack all the time. What can I do to help things between adjustments? I have an inversion table, and it used to help a lot. But to be honest, it scares the hell out of me now. I weigh 330 pounds, don't even think it'll hold that much. Anything else I can do to take pressure off? I do still like to train heavy once in a while. Well, first of all, excuse me, if you're only training heavy once in a while, why are you carrying 330 pounds? Number one, that alone will make your back feel better. You probably need to drop a good 50. And
Yeah.
the other thing is, then you'll fit in your inversion table, and nothing works like an inversion table. I use it twice a day, and I have L4, L5, S1 compression from deadlifting and squatting. What's up? What do you think, Rob?
Well, I mean, in large part, that was my answer. But I will say this, and it goes for all injuries. If you haven't already, get a formal diagnosis. Okay, it's really important. It could be anything from a ruptured disc to something a lot less serious, like a vertebrae has rotated slightly and you're out of alignment. The treatment for both those things is going to be different, which is why
Yeah.
it's so important to get it checked out. Having said that, your comment about liking to train heavy still when possible leads me to believe it's more likely the latter, meaning a lot. Just you've had a lot of vertical compression of the spine, and there may be something serious there. In that event, it's likely that modifying your training, your rest, and getting chiropractic adjustments or some combination thereof is going to help you. Generally speaking, most lower back injuries that I've seen are due to that repeated compression of the spine over many, many years of heavy squatting and deadlifting. Which don't get me wrong, those are not bad movements per se, but people do use bad form on those movements, turning them into bad, into bad movements, if you know what I'm saying. Still, I know many guys who always trained with good form, and yet the repeated vertical compression of the spine eventually catches up with them. You wake up and you're 40 or 45 and you feel it getting out of bed. Recommendation number one then would be what you said, Carl: lose the weight. Why are you 330 pounds now? Unless you're 7 feet tall, that's not really healthy. I can guarantee 25 pounds comes off and your back is going to be feeling a lot better. Recommendation number two: decompressing the spine 2 to 3 days a week. You can you can still do that safely and on the cheap by tying a medium to strong band to the base of a power rack, looping the other end around your ankles and feet, and crawling out progressively farther and farther on your belly, right, while you're on the ground. If you haven't tried that yet, you really need to, because it does an incredible job, particularly in the lower back, of decompressing the spine. So there's no risk to the neck, and it benefits the hips and ankles as well. On the downside, it doesn't have some of the blood flow to, right, the brain and other benefits that inversion does. But it's a starting point, at least until you can get back on your inversion board. Recommendation number 3 would be, safer and thus more productive alternatives to heavy barbell deadlifts. For example, trap bar deadlifts. If you're not competing, there's no rule saying that you have to use a straight bar. For a lot of people, the trap bar is safer and you can still lift tons of weight. Recommendation 4, I would say begin some form of back bends and or bridging. Even if it's just, let's say, the scorpion pose used in yoga, where you just push yourself up with your hips still on the ground. Bending backwards and bridging, ultimately some sort of bridging, is key. Wall walks, I'll say this, I'm just one person, but it's my, strong belief. Wall walks gave me the back I had again in my much earlier years. And they allowed me to both trap bar deadlift and box squat over 500 pounds at age 50. I'll go back and look, but it's between 5 and 525. That's no world record, but it's not far off, right, from what I was doing in my 20s. And then finally, final recommendation, body weight training. I know I keep saying it over and over, but if you're 55 years old, at least 55% of your training should be body weight from now on. And again, if you're not competing in powerlifting anymore, there's no excuse really. You lose little to nothing in terms of muscle tissue. I know everybody thinks they're going to lose it. As long as your volume's adequate and you're doing, focusing on getting stronger, trust me, you're not going to lose muscle. Now, will you lose your ability to do a 1 rep max in the big barbell lift? Yeah, because you haven't trained it in a while. But there's nothing saying that you can't either. Just to include things, for example, like dips and chins, and your joints are going to feel 1,000% better, and it's going to keep you honest, right? And let's face it, be getting easier and easier if you're dropping weight. So put all of those recommendations together. I am betting that you will feel better in no time.
So
maybe not 100% fixed, but much, much better.
We've done shows on fixing your own back, and the 2 things that can fix your lower back that no one wants to do, by the way, is walking and planking. So Rob's talking about he's talking about bridging. Call it planking. Get on your elbows, toes in the ground, and keep your body as straight as possible. Fight to activate those glutes, those hamstrings to support the lower back. Number 2, walking. Walk 20, 30 minutes or 10 minutes 2 or 3 times a day, and you'll see your back will start to feel better in days. Sometimes, literally, right after you walk, you'll be like, oh, my back pain is gone. And teeter hang-ups makes an inversion table that will support a 330-pound person.
Good.
You need an inversion. Look, I have horrible lower back pain, but I get on that inversion table sometimes as little as 5 or 6 minutes, and I hang there, and I let my spine elongate, and I feel my gut, my abdominal muscles stretching, and the pain literally goes away. I hang there for another 2 or 3 minutes. I step off that inversion table. I have no pain at all in my lower back for at least the next hour or 2. What does that tell you? If it works that fast, you just need to spend more time inverted, because what's happened is those of us who were big fans of the heavy deadlift and the heavy squat, and then we spent the rest of the day standing or sitting, we had continuous pressure from gravity pushing that lumbar spine down. Now it's time to stretch it back out. And you need to do this twice a day. You need to invert twice a day. And you need to hang there until the pain goes away and then walk it out. Walking, planking, and inversion are your friends. They will fix your back. They will fix it.
I think it needs to be said too that for those people that are concerned about being up and down, you don't need to go for the gusto off the bat, right? You don't need to be 100% inverted. You can start with very, let's say, shallow suspensions. If
you could go 80 degrees. You just keep going, but eventually you will have the strength to be inverted, and that's what works for me. I literally am hanging from my ankles, and I let my back just kind of stretch out, and it feels so friggin' good after that. Like, how can you deny it's working? You can't.
Do you get a rush of energy too? Because for me, it's like a pre-workout.
No, I don't get a rush of energy, but what I do feel is like this exalted sense of feeling good. Oh man, getting upside down for me is just a really wonderful thing. And if you're smart and you're listening to this show and you don't have back pain, but you squat and you deadlift, you need an inversion table now.
Right.
So you never develop the compression in the lumbar spine.
Yeah, head it off at the pass. It's a lot.
Yeah, don't even let it
smarter. Right?
Don't even let it happen. So I wanna take this moment to talk about something I want to talk about, and then we'll take a break and come back to questions. And we have questions from live listeners, and we'll get to all of them. So every day I am faced with ads on Facebook and Instagram by would-be biohackers. I am so fucking tired of the term biohacking. Let me rephrase biohacking. I don't want to have to do the hard work, so give me the shortcuts. There are no shortcuts to longevity.
Yeah.
Okay? So I want to tell you something. If your biohacking guru that you follow doesn't include heavy progressive resistance training as a life-extending intervention, stop taking their advice. And I'll tell you why. Because there are no studies that show rapamycin makes people live longer. There are no studies that show metformin makes people live longer. There are no studies that show any of the lovely peptides that I promote on the show and talk about actually make people live longer. The only studies in humans that show, and I'm talking about studies, I'm talking about probably 800 studies out there today that have been accumulated that show a direct link between strength, longevity, and health span. There are studies that show the stronger your grip is, the longer you live. And they followed these men over years to see who had strong grips and who died. There are studies that show that up to 60 years old women and up to 65 years old men, the more women and more men who carry muscle into 60 and 65 live longer and have greater health. So the only studies that link longevity and health span to anything we can do in humans, not rodents, not cockroaches, not bunny rabbits, in humans, is increasing muscle mass and strength. Yet these gurus, and I'm sorry, I got to pick on somebody. Dave Asprey sells all sorts of shit on he's always promoting, this seed, this expensive machine, this pomegranate, now the new thing is postbiotic. I never see him promoting lifting weights, even though the only thing that's been shown in science to extend the life of humans is building strength and muscle. And when you look at the guy, I mean, I'm sorry to say it, I'm not making fun, but he looks like he's got a hanger in his shirt. He doesn't even look like he has shoulders. And so if you're following somebody who isn't telling you, hey, we got all these supplements and on paper they look like they should extend your life, but we really don't know that they're going to extend your life. But the one thing that we do know that will extend your life is for you to go and bust your ass in the gym 5 days a week and lift weights and build muscle. I've been saying it forever. If you're stronger today than yesterday, then you're younger today than yesterday. And the weight room is a time machine, and it will reverse the years of your life and prolong your life and prolong your health. And if you're buying a bunch of supplements like NMA and all these other, so, this is going to extend life. Berberine, that's going to extend life. This is going to extend life. Resveratrol is going to extend. There's no studies that show that. You're buying a bunch of bullshit. The only studies out there that show something that has direct effect on living longer and being healthier is building muscle. Now, I know it's a very unpopular topic because, you got to work. You got to do something. You can't just sit in your chair and sit next to this machine that somebody told you is going to reverse your years, or take these pills that are going to make up for your stupid choices in life. That's all bullshit. If you're not working hard in the gym, if you're not building muscle, if you're not getting stronger today than you were a week ago, stop taking all that stuff because none of that works.
It's unfortunate that the gym is not seen, as you very eloquently put it, as a time machine. If we could get that idea across to the general population that the gym, the weight room, is a time machine, think about how much better off people and society would be. Because you're absolutely 100% right. Doctors have known it for a long time. Lean body mass and longevity are strongly correlated. And it blows my mind because I have seen doctors discharge people from the hospital, discharge me from the hospital after being, say, bedridden for 2, 3, 4 days, and not spoken to the fact that, hey, you know what? You might have lost a little bit of muscle while you're here. You need to do something to put that back on. If you take somebody just from the general, you take somebody like my dad who's been ravaged, right, by age and disease and other things that personally I think are linked to the vaccine. But if you take him, he's already lost virtually all the muscle in his legs, and you have him do a 2, 3, 5 day stay in the hospital where he's in bed the entire time, you're talking about someone who might be relegated to a wheelchair for the rest of his life.
After that event, right?
If he doesn't do something about it, because seems to be some threshold level of muscle that once the body goes below that, it is extremely difficult, if not impossible, to get it back. Right? I mean,
think about this. Men in the 80s that got AIDS, what killed them? The AIDS didn't kill them. Cachexia killed them. Cachexia killed them. They wasted away. And that's why the Dallas Buyers Club and other people out there who understood that what we know about anabolics and training could keep those guys from dying until a cure could be found.
That was the only thing that was working.
Well, yeah, the only thing that worked. There was a book called We Want to Live.
Built to Survive is another one.
Oh, Built to Survive. That's what it was. Built to Survive. Yep. And it was written by two guys. One of them was on my show. I can't think of his name right now. Actually, both of them were on my show 2 different times. But they taught guys with AIDS what bodybuilders already know. How to use anabolics, how to use growth hormone, how to train, how to eat, how to sleep. And guess what? Those guys stayed alive. They didn't die from the AIDS, even though they were infected.
And by the way, you can learn a lot from that book. If you don't have HIV and AIDS and read it, it's a fascinating read because he doesn't just talk about, hey, take this much DECA, this much test. No, it's the entire integrated package, the diet, the drugs, the supplements, the training. You can learn a lot from that, whether you have HIV or not.
Yeah. So again, if you are following a guru, a biohacking guru, let's call them shortcut guru. Let's call mitigate your guilt for not doing the right thing guru. Like we're going to give you a pill so you don't have to worry. They're full of shit. And you are not going to live longer by taking metformin or rapamycin or any of those things if you're not building muscle and strength.
100% agree.
And I know that this will not be a popular sentiment because most people want to be told, yeah, you don't have to work hard. You just have to take this pill and you'll be fine. And that's who those people cater to.
True.
Lie to me. Tell me that I could just take this pill and I'll be healthy and live a long time. Lie to me. That's the people. Now, I don't cater to those people.
No, but a significant chunk of the American population wants to be lied to. And if you don't believe that, just watch late night TV and all the burn fat while you sleep pills.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, they're out there and they never go away.
All right,
Just
we're gonna take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we have plenty of questions and comments, and I'll get off my soapbox. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. If you've listened to this show for any length of time, you know that I have struggled to give up coffee for years. Coffee has destroyed my gut and it's impaired my health. Well, I haven't had coffee in months thanks to a product called Magic Mind. Magic Mind is the first nootropic blend I actually feel working. One shot and I'm good all day long. My memory is crystal clear and I'm able to function and have great focus without coffee or caffeine for that matter. If you want to try a product that really works, if you're like me and you want to give up coffee forever, or you just need something occasionally that will help you lift the brain fog, Magic Mind is your product. I promise you that this product you will feel when you use it. Go to shrnetwork.biz/Magic Mind, all one word, and use the code SHR for a whopping 20% off your first order. C60, also known as Buckminster fullerene, is the most powerful, most versatile antioxidant in the world. It's been shown in studies to double the lifespan of rodents. We all know the importance of taking antioxidants to slow aging, reduce inflammation, and improve mitochondrial function and energy production. But there are literally hundreds of antioxidants that would cost you thousands of dollars to take every day. I take one. I take C60 from C360 Health. Revive and Rejuvenate are two blends that harness the power of C60. Don't waste another minute. Go to shrnetwork.biz/revive and use the code SHR for 15% off and free shipping inside the United States today. If you'd like a shortcut to better sleep, more energy, and calmer, more stable moods, then you should make sure you're supplementing with magnesium daily. Let me tell you why. About 75% of people are magnesium deficient. This deficiency can lead to higher levels of anxiety, irritability, trouble sleeping, and low energy. It can even contribute to foot and leg cramps while you sleep. Magnesium Breakthrough by Bioptimizers is the single best magnesium supplement in the world. Simply take 2 capsules before you go to bed, and you'll be amazed by the improvements in your mood and energy levels and how much more rested you feel when you wake up. I take Magnesium Breakthrough every night, and I sleep better because I use it. Go to magbreakthrough.com/SHR and use the code SHR10 during checkout to save 10% off and get free shipping. Check it out.
New Mass Pro Synthogen X2 just upped its own legendary game. To distance itself even further from the rest of the pack, Synthogen X2 now has double the key active ingredients. If you've ever wondered what steroid-like recovery feels like, Synthogen X2 delivers. See why others compare it favorably to powerful bodybuilding drugs at synthogen.com. Mass Pro Synthogen. When you train with it, you'll gain with it.
If you've listened to Superhuman Radio for any length of time, you know I'm a big proponent of peptides. One of my favorites is GHK-Cu, the blue copper peptide. It has the ability to repair and regenerate more youthful expression of skin cells, reversing the signs of aging. Restore Cell's Stem Cell Awakening Serum, along with their other products, contains potent formulations of blue copper peptides and only the highest quality organic ingredients. Superhuman Radio listeners can now save 25% site-wide. Go to shrnetwork.biz/blue and use the code SHR25. Remodel your skin today. You may be wondering why you're experiencing performance issues in the bedroom, but you're not alone. Over 30 million men experience a form of erectile dysfunction, and to many, it can feel defeating. Maybe you've tried pills, diets, exercise, but finally there's a proven solution. Meet Eddie, a discreet device designed to help men strengthen and maintain their erections. Pills can be costly and result in debilitating side effects, so I checked out Eddie by Giddy at shrnetwork.biz/Eddie and found out that over 95% of men experience positive results wearing Eddie, according to a 2021 clinical trial. This product simply works and is easy to use. Sign up for a subscription at shrnetwork.biz/Eddie and save $20 on your first device with promo code SUPER20. With free device resizes and 60-day guarantee, you'll be glad you tried it. Treat ED with Eddie at shrnetwork.biz/Eddie. That's EDDIE.
This is the Superhuman Channel. Evolution just got kicked up a notch.
Hey, welcome back. Let's get some of these questions up here, first of all. So this one comes from Horned Frog on YouTube. Thanks for being here. He says, what do you recommend that a doctor should do in regards to the prostate during an annual wellness exam for men in their 60s. I mean, all they do is a digital exam. They feel your prostate to see if it's enlarged. And if it's firm, like getting harder, that's a sign of prostate hyperplasia. But I guess what else do you suggest? I don't know. What else can they do?
Well, I was going to say only two things that I'm aware of: the PSA and the quote-unquote manual exam. Look, it's prostate cancer is extremely common in men, right? I forget what the percentage was of men that ultimately get it. That's the bad news. The good news is if it's caught early, it's not too problematic. I have had, let's say, prostate issues before with like UTI, and the doc felt it, and he's like, "Yeah, you got a swollen, prostate," and they give you a prescription. I forget, antibiotic, Cipro maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And they can prescribe certain drugs like Flomax, but before you even get there, see the doc, get those two exams done, and see what he says or she says.
And PSI, I'm sorry, PSA really means nothing at the end of the day. And I would challenge any doctor to a discussion about that.
They still put a lot of weight on it though.
Yeah, but it's bullshit. So if you have sex with your wife, your partner, on a Monday, and then you go for a PSA test on a Tuesday, your PSAs are going to be really high. But that's only indicating that you had a really good orgasm the day before. It's not indicating that you have a threat of cancer. If anything, the more orgasms you have, the more prostate is protected from developing cancer in the first place. So PSAs mean nothing, but it really went out the window about 9 years ago when they found prostate-specific antigen in breast cancer tissue. It's like, wait a minute, how could that be? This is only found in the prostate. No, it's not. PSAs mean nothing, and they torture men because of their PSAs, put them on androgen deprivation therapy and all sorts of horrible things that will kill you before the prostate cancer will.
Right.
Richard Miller is reporting. So he says, wanted to update you guys. Remember he had a client, a woman who had enlarged heart, possibly from COVID. He said she did what we suggested. She's walking and she's taking copper.
Oh, great.
She saw her doctor after 2 weeks of walking and copper, and her doctor was amazed at her lower inflammation levels and improvement in such a short time, and said he needed to look into copper and that maybe this is something I should be telling more people. You did good, gentlemen. Thanks. Copper actually prevents people with high blood pressure from developing cardiomyopathy. It prevents it. That's been shown in rodents and in humans.
It made my day. That's great. That's why we do this show.
Okay, so let's get back to a question here. I went to the banners and I don't have anything in there because they disappeared for some reason. But here you go. Stuart Alsum. He says, I really enjoy your knowledge about old school supplements. In your opinion, was there anything to Vanadyl Sulfate or OKG? I have a friend that still swears by them, although I don't know much about them.
Yeah, well, this is going way back. For those unfamiliar, Vanadyl Sulfate is derived from a trace mineral, vanadium.
Vanadium, right.
And was said to be a pretty strong glucose disposal agent. Said to be pretty strong. It was originally introduced by a company called Sport Pharma. I think they're long out of business. And their flagship product was something called Vanadyl pH, which was, had a special pH coating. Whether or not that made any difference, who knows. It was also written about, and this is what led to a lot of its popularity. It was written about extensively by Dan Duchesne. And it was also widely pushed by EAS back in the day, the same company that first, let's say, mass-marketed creatine in the United States. And so as it came on the heels of that discovery, you can imagine the excitement that most consumers, looked at this stuff with. I used tons of it, mostly Sport Pharma stuff, but looking back, I don't honestly think it did much, if anything. Why? Well, because like a lot of glucose disposal agents, you know, if you don't have a problem with glucose, then
Why are
what's it
you
gonna
taking it? Yeah.
right? What's it gonna do? So I do not think that it did much. I wouldn't say it's going to do much today. Haven't seen it other than in some multis. You'll see vanadium listed as a trace mineral, and the way I look at that is I guess it can't hurt. OKG, ornithine alpha ketoglutarate, on the other hand, was an ornithine salt that was thought to be anti-catabolic. And to be fair, there was one French study, I think it was in burn patients, which showed a lot of promise. So it might have worked, but we will probably never know, as the problem, there were several different problems. So problem number one, it tasted like battery acid. I mean, really bad. Worse than L-arginine. For those of you that have had that pleasure, it was actually worse than that. Number two, it was expensive. Even when bought in, free-form powder, it was expensive, and you needed that to get the appropriate amounts. Problem number three was in the French study, it was given via IV, right? Whereas all of the OKG sold on the supplement market were orals. So when you combine all three of those problems and you consider the fact that an effective dose would have been about 10 grams a day at breakfast, probably with a carbohydrate, you begin to understand why that too died kind of a quick supplement death. The typical products companies were putting out, they were putting out OKG capsules, which, okay, it solves the taste issue, but it exacerbated the cost issue. As anything that's encapsulated, the price goes way, way up. So in theory, you might be able to get past the taste thing, but you would go broke downing as much as you really needed to see results. And because it didn't really catch on and it wasn't produced in higher and higher amounts like creatine, the price never came down. It was always way up here. So long story short, I know of nobody who consistently got the 10 grams a day, that was necessary to get that down and do so with any kind of consistency. So I would tell you OKG is not entirely worthless, but it does suffer from the same problems that all purported anti-catabolics do in this market, which is this: you can't feel them, or you can't see them doing anything. And those that had, let's say, the best anti-catabolics ever created are anabolic steroids. Were and are anabolic steroids. So, and those had the added benefit, right, of being anabolic as well. So when you have anabolic activity in the body increasing and anti-catabolic, increasing as well, slowing down the loss, well, you get a nice, visible, feelable result. But when you're dealing with a supplement that has very weak anti-catabolic properties, if any, in the oral form, then, even if it theoretically worked, it would have done so slowly, very slowly over time, which would not be fast enough for most consumers. Let's be honest, people want results yesterday. So here's the bottom line. With the benefit of hindsight, I would call OKG more useful than Vanadyl Sulfate, but that's not really saying much. Ultimately, both products largely disappeared, given most consumers probably came to the same conclusion that I just did. So we have better products today, although regrettably not much better. Why can't I talk today? I feel like Kamala Harris.
Oh, that's good. That's funny. Yeah, talk in circles.
Oh, jeez.
The one thing I will say about Vanadyl Sulfate is it was very misunderstood. It was thought to increase insulin sensitivity. That's not true. What it does do is it increases GLUT4 sensitivity, which is a completely different pathway that glucose gets into the cell. And you don't have to take it forever. because it's a metal that sticks around.
Right, it built up.
Yeah, you don't you probably take it for a year and not have to take it for a few years.
It does have a pretty blue color. I'll say that for
Yeah,
you.
it does. You're right. Yeah. It does. Let's get to a live question here. So Joe, especially since we just talked about the prostate, Joe Mazzarella says he's having PSA issues. February, his PSAs were 5.8. March, 4.9. They're going in the right direction, I'd say. With 11% free PSA. Trying to start TRTs, but doctors are hesitant. Now I'm going for an MRI and select MDX urine test with specific markers. Any advice? Yes. Look up Dr. Samuel Denmead and bring his studies that show that giving a man testosterone, it actually shuts down even the most aggressive prostate cancer.
Yeah, and it's amazing that in today's day and age, we still have most doctors that would be gun shy, just like he's saying about putting you on TRT, when in fact the evidence points in the other direction. And you know what? It's not like they can't take you off if they see something that they don't like.
Yeah, but it's not going to do anything to you. It's going to actually make your prostate function better.
Right.
So, I would look up Dr. Samuel Denmead, look at all of his papers. They're all about the same thing, about giving men testosterone to reduce prostate cancer, prostate size, and other pathologies of the prostate, and send them to your doctor and say, look at this. Like, I'm begging you for testosterone therapy. First of all, Joe, how low is your testosterone? Because that would be my argument. But the reason my PSAs are up is because my testosterone's low. This is the new science. Are you not paying attention?
Yeah.
That's what I would say.
Right, because low test levels can be causative.
Yeah, that's it. Denmeade. Dr. Samuel Denmead. You'll find him. I did a show with him maybe 5 years ago after he literally reversed the most aggressive prostate cancers by giving men super physiological doses, like 500 milligrams in one shot, but then he lets it taper off until it's very low, and then he gives them another shot.
Right. And if you do have low tests, let's be honest, there's a lot more negatives that go along with that.
So he's saying is the 10% free test, which isn't high, in my opinion, and 629, and that's not high, 629. That's the testosterone levels of, a 60-year-old man.
Right.
That's what mine were before I started full time.
They have dropped the norm reference range at least twice that I'm aware of.
Yeah,
Latest 280 was the lowest, was the low end of the spectrum. Last time I looked, and years ago when I started looking at this stuff, it was 300.
So Horn Frog put him up here. Sam Denmead, co-director, prostate cancer program, professor of oncology in Johns Hopkins. Yeah, you're 54 years old. You have the testosterone levels of a 54-year-old man, and you have the prostate of a 54-year-old man with those testosterone levels.
And you'll have the quality of life of a 54-year-old man instead of something much better.
Michael Nippert says, what about getting a biopsy? Why? Why get a biopsy? There's no indication of cancer. Why would you do something invasive? Oh, sorry. Why do something invasive like a biopsy? A biopsy could damage your prostate for the rest of your life. They go in there and they flick a little something out of it. You get an infection in your prostate. Now you're jacked forever. Why? I mean, they can do MRIs and CT scans to see if there's a solid tumor in your prostate. They don't have to go in there and poke around.
Yeah, I wouldn't monkey with something, especially down there. If there's no problem, then don't be monkeying around.
And I'm going to put this up again. Horn Frog put it up, and I thank you for doing this. Dr. Sam Denmead, co-director of prostate cancer program, professor of oncology at Johns fucking Hopkins. He's smarter than your doctor. He's smarter than you. Bring his shit to your doctor and say, look, dude, this is the emerging science. ADT doesn't work. Chemically castrating a man doesn't work. Doesn't help them at all.
Tell him to start listening to SHR.
Nobody will listen. Nobody listens to the show. Nobody, because you know what? Because I don't promote magic beans.
Yep. I know all about it.
I'd be much more popular. I'd be popular like what's his name?
Dr.
I just
Oz.
mentioned his name. No, I actually like Dr. Oz now.
Do you?
I do. I've listened to him enough, and I understand that he understands. But I think they make him dumb shit down on his show,
Yeah.
which really takes away. Here, we don't dumb shit down. We expect you to elevate. We expect you to get a dictionary and look up a word that you don't understand. I want you to be smarter because that's the only way you're going to navigate your health. But Dave Asprey, Dave Asprey promises magic beans. Here, take these beans. They're going to make you live longer. Bullshit. Get into the gym 5 or 6 days a week and struggle against the weight. That's what's going to make you live longer.
Right.
That's it. And that's the difference between Superhuman Radio and these other idiots out there. I'm sorry to say it. But you know what? I'm going to be off the air in a couple years anyway with my new invention for keeping people from losing their guns. So I might as well make a few enemies on the way out. All right, we're going to take a break. We got lots more questions. Stay with us. You're watching and listening to Superhuman Radio. This is the Blueprint Power Hour. Go to CoachRobRegish.com today to learn more. We'll be right back. More than 240 million Americans take supplements daily in pill form, but poor nutrient absorption means the promised results are rarely achieved. Healthy Cell uses a clinically proven patent-pending gel delivery system that increases absorption by 165% over pill form. Go to shrnetwork.biz/healthycell. That's HEALTHYCELL today and use the code SHR to save 20% off your purchase of Healthy Cell supplements. You may be wondering why you're experiencing performance issues in the bedroom, but you're not alone. Over 30 million men experience a form of erectile dysfunction, and to many, it can feel defeating. Maybe you've tried pills, diets, exercise, but finally there's a proven solution. Meet Eddie, a discreet device designed to help men strengthen and maintain their erections. Pills can be costly and result in debilitating side effects, so I checked out Eddie by Giddy at shrnetwork.biz/Eddie and found out that over 95% of men experience positive results wearing Eddie, according to a 2021 clinical trial. This product simply works and is easy to use. Sign up for a subscription at shrnetwork.biz/Eddie and save $20 on your first device with promo code SUPER20. With free device resizes and 60-day guarantee, you'll be glad you tried it. Treat ED with Eddie at shrnetwork.biz/Eddie. That's EDDIE. Remember those rectangular toaster pastries you used to love when you were a kid? Well, Legendary Foods has just made them better. The new cake-style tasty pastry is like nothing you've ever had before. With 20 grams of high-quality protein and less than 1 gram of sugar, you'll feel like you're cheating, but you're not. Go to shrnetwork.biz/legendary and use the code SHR10 to save 10% off your purchase of tasty pastries. Now available in cookies and cream, red velvet cake, birthday cake, blueberry, strawberry, brown sugar cinnamon, and hot fudge sundae. Go to shrnetwork.biz/legendary and use code SHR10 today. Being superhuman means being conscientious about the choices we make. White Oak Pastures is superhuman when it comes to raising livestock. They're committed to animal welfare, land regeneration, and rural revival. They responsibly manage the entire process from the pasture to your doorstep. High-quality, pasture-raised, great-tasting meat from a farm you can trust. Full nose-to-tail selections. They even have options for your pet. Go to shrnetwork.biz/White Oak and use the code SUPERHUMAN to save 10% off your entire first order. If you'd like a shortcut to better sleep, more energy, and calmer, more stable moods, then you should make sure you're supplementing with magnesium daily. Let me tell you why. About 75% of people are magnesium deficient. This deficiency can lead to higher levels of anxiety, irritability, trouble sleeping, and low energy. It can even contribute to foot and leg cramps while you sleep. Magnesium Breakthrough by Bioptimizers is the single best magnesium supplement in the world. Simply take 2 capsules before you go to bed, and you'll be amazed by the improvements in your mood and energy levels and how much more rested you feel when you wake up. I take Magnesium Breakthrough every night, and I sleep better because I use it. Go to magbreakthrough.com/SHR and use the code SHR10 during checkout to save 10% off and get free shipping. Check it out. Most people have heard of phytoestrogens, but did you know there are beneficial phytoandrogens? The top source of these is pine pollen. It even contains trace amounts of testosterone and DHEA. If you're looking for a 100% natural testosterone booster, this is worth trying. Lots of men love it, and it even works for women. Lost Empire Herbs offers the highest quality wild harvested, non-irradiated pine pollen backed by a 365-day money-back guarantee. It works for you, or you don't have to pay for it with nothing to send back. Go to shrnetwork.biz/Lost Empire. Use code SHR. Get 15% off your order today.
Spit that out right now. This is the Superhuman Channel.
Yeah, you want to know the truth? I can't wait to get off the air. And I know that pisses a lot of people off when I say that, because I feel the true love from this audience. I mean, I get emails and messages from people all the time. But there is just the barrage of bullshit in the health and fitness world today and anti-aging world is just staggering. Yeah. And you just can't, and it's really come down to who has the biggest megaphone and who's willing to say what people want to hear. And they have the biggest audiences. The only exception to that rule are guys like Joe Rogan and Mark Bell. And the truth of the matter is, Mark Bell is doing more for anti-aging than Dave Asprey is, because Mark Bell is teaching people how to get stronger, how to be stronger, how to run further, how to do all these things that put your body in an area where you must upgrade your body to accomplish these new goals. That is what keeps you from aging. It's not the magic beans or the magic equipment or any of that bullshit. It's making your body work.
It's hard work.
The body loves to work. Anyway, I'm sorry. Okay, so let's see here what we got here. Horn Frog says, Rob, please promise to continue the Blueprint Power Hour if Carl retires.
I was going to say, you're going to have a lot of people missing you. The accumulated knowledge base of this show is just staggering, and it does people a lot of good, witnessed by that comment that we just got, right? About
Boy,
woman
who knew the prostate questions were going to be so popular? Taylor C says, getting back to the prostate health, what's the best indicator? It needs to be checked if PSA isn't dependable. Well, I wouldn't say don't check PSAs. I would say they should only have a 10 to 20% gravity in the decision that there's something wrong with your prostate. But there's a lot of other things that show up way, 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 way before. First of all, the frequent urges to urinate, but the inability to empty your bladder. Like, that is number one. When you notice that you have to get up 3 or 4 times a night to pee, that's not normal. That's not normal. Now, it doesn't have to be the prostate. It could be a bunch of other things, right? You could be getting insulin resistant. You could be having a UTI, especially if it burns when you urinate. You could also be experiencing some dysregulation of circadian rhythm, where your body thinks it's daytime when it's night, and vice versa. But if you feel this urge to urinate in the tip of your penis, and keep in mind, what happens in your prostate, you feel it in the tip of your penis, not inside your body. So if you feel like that, like a kid playing hide and go seek, and you just found your perfect spot, oh damn it, now I got to pee. Well, that's because of adrenaline. That's different. But if you have a sensation in the tip of your penis all the time, and it really gets worse when you urinate, then something's going on with your prostate. If you have an inability to empty your bladder, you feel like, man, I need to pee, but it's not coming out. That's an indicator of your prostate. Now, a lot of those things can be addressed with 8 milligrams of Cialis a day. 8 milligrams of Cialis a day has been shown to reduce the size of the prostate when it's undergoing hyperplasia and restore a man's ability to empty his bladder. And if you get a better erection, that's aside, but 8 milligrams a day is probably not going to affect an erection. But it's been shown to actually make the prostate healthier. The other thing is, tell your wife or your partner, you're going to give me prostate cancer if I don't have 2 orgasms a week. That should be the minimum. No, I'm being serious right now. Yeah. Like, if you're a woman and you don't have desire for sex anymore, but your husband does, Well, you got an obligation to keep him healthy. One of the things that's going to keep him from getting prostate cancer is to make sure he has regular orgasms. Science has shown this. This isn't me trying to con women into having more sex with men.
I have a hard time keeping up with my wife.
That's a wonderful. She will keep you young.
Yeah, well, she does. One other thing I wanted to mention, you said one of the symptoms, inability to empty, right, the entire bladder. I don't know if this is common with all exams, but when I went for mine, prostate exam, the first thing they did was say, okay, give us a urine sample. And then right after that, I want to say they did some sort of scan to see if I was able to empty the bladder 100%. And if you're not, it's the most frustrating thing in the world. Like you said, you got a lot of pressure. You got to go all the time. Finally, you get there and you can't.
Yeah, and a couple drops come out. You know what I mean? It's like, or you have a very weak stream. It's like something's wrong.
Right.
And men know this. They know, but men don't like to talk about it. They don't like to go to the doctors for it. They don't want somebody to stick their finger up their ass. All these reasons that men ignore it. But the reality is that your prostate talks to you all the time. You probably ignore it. And PSA should only be 20% of the diagnosis. The rest of it should be, is the prostate enlarged? Is it, when they palpate it, is it hard like a nut as opposed to softer like a cherry? And then the first line of defense shouldn't be, we're going to do a biopsy. It should be, we're going to give you 8 milligrams of Cialis a day and come back in a month and let's check it again. And you come back and, wow, it's nice and soft. It's gotten smaller. Good deal. Now, take advantage of that and have more sex, and that will keep your prostate healthy. And also remember, if you show up at the doctor's office for a prostate exam, a PSA test especially, and you've had sex within the past 2 days, you must tell the doctor, I just had sex. He's probably going to say, well, we'll expect your PSAs to be high. Or he's a complete dimbo and he doesn't know that when you have an orgasm, it'll raise your PSAs for a good 2 days. But you know,
doctor.
you need to know. You need to know that. Okay, so, boy, the prostate's a popular question. Hey, do you think, so this is Chester LP 77 on YouTube. Do you think you need to stick to a diet plan, or can you mix different plans during the week? For instance, 3 days of meat only, 2 days of carbs and veggies, 2 days fasting. The answer to that is, how's it working for you?
Yep, 100%.
That's it. Like if you're doing that and you're seeing the results you want, you're continuing to gain muscle, you're not putting on a lot of fat, you feel good, you're energetic, you thrive, you're sleeping good, rock on. But if you're telling me, asking this question because you just don't feel good the day you include carbs, or you know, you don't feel good the days you're only eating meat, then you're answering your own question. If it works for you, that's all that counts. It doesn't have to work for Dr. DePasquale, me, Rob, or anybody else. It has to work for you.
Yeah, and just as importantly, if it's not working for you, change. I know a lot of guys who get married to a certain diet concept, you know, low carbs all the time. And low carbs all the time doesn't work all the time.
Everybody.
For everybody.
Right.
So if you're weak in the gym, if your muscles are flat, if you have no energy, there's no reason, you know, to keep
doing with
staying
that
on the ketogenic bandwagon.
Right.
Yeah.
So individualized medicine, individualized nutrition. Just remember that. They go hand in hand. So Horned Frog said his wife is happy to lend a helping hand to keep his prostate healthy. And that's always a wonderful thing. That's always a wonderful thing. Yeah, you know, I think if women knew, they really knew, well, I don't know, some women may be spiteful and figure, F you, I'm going to give you prostate cancer. You're not getting to this anymore. But if women really knew the linkage between a man's orgasm and prostate health, I think that they would be more receptive to like, hey, honey, I know you don't feel like doing this, but is there anything you can do to help me out?
I think a lot of women may be skeptical because, you know, look at the number of studies showing the benefits of sperm, right?
Yes.
I mean, you know, this is not, we're not making it up. It's legit. And this is just another instance of that.
Well, and so when we used to do Casual Friday, we talked about a study that showed that semen improves the quality of women's skin, because not Valerie Bertinelli, the little blonde that was married to, I think she was married to one of the rock stars, the little Heather Locklear. Heather Locklear was asked, because she's like in her 60s and she looks so good. What do you do for your face? Like on one of those magazine shows. Your skin is so beautiful. She goes, you won't do it if I tell you. She said, you won't believe me. They said, no, tell us. And I think she was married to Ricky Zambora or somebody at the time or somebody like that. She says, I put semen on my face. And everybody went, oh, and then she just walked away. So we found studies that show that is in fact something that can improve the youthful quality of a woman's skin. It has stem cells in it. It's got spermidine in it, which is all popular now. It's got all these things in it, growth factors. And you put it on your skin, it improves the quality of skin. So you know what women said, right? Oh, some guy did that because he wants to, he wants to ejaculate on his wife's face. And no, it's science. See, it's funny how people select the science they want to believe.
Yeah, and she has nothing to gain from saying that. She's not out there selling sperm, right?
Right, exactly. And people are like, oh, she's full of baloney. That can't be true. No, it is true. And it would make your husband happy too. What's wrong? That's the thing. Women, if they're going to do something and it also makes their husbands happy, then they're not for it. They're like, oh, no, I'm not doing this because this guy's going to be happy about that. It's terrible. It's really terrible.
Yeah.
We have to take our last commercial break. Let's just see. We have another comment here. I don't want to take it because then we're going to come back. And so Horn Frog says, that might be a bridge too far for my wife. That's funny.
Keep trying, brother.
When we come back, we have the blueprint tip of the day, and we'll also take the rest of your questions. So stay with us. We'll be right back. If you've listened to Superhuman Radio for any length of time, you know I'm a big proponent of peptides. One of my favorites is GHK-Cu, the blue copper peptide. It has the ability to repair and regenerate more youthful expression of skin cells, reversing the signs of aging. Restore Cell's Stem Cell Awakening Serum, along with their other products, contains potent formulations of blue copper peptides and only the highest quality organic ingredients. Superhuman Radio listeners can now save 25% site-wide. Go to shrnetwork.biz/blue and use the code SHR25. Remodel your skin today.
Dogs should be powered by fat and protein, not carbs. That's why Visionary Pet makes low-carb, ketogenic dog food for dogs of all breeds and life stages. From kibble to freeze-dried and even low-carb treats, all Visionary Pet recipes are very low-carb, ketogenic, and made with 100% real meat protein. Shop now and use code SHR for 20% off your first order today. Your dog deserves the lifelong benefits of optimal nutrition. Make the switch to Visionary and see why smart dogs eat low carb.
Remember those rectangular toaster pastries you used to love when you were a kid? Well, Legendary Foods has just made them better. The new cake-style tasty pastry is like nothing you've ever had before. With 20 grams of high-quality protein and less than 1 gram of sugar, you'll feel like you're cheating, but you're not. Go to shrnetwork.biz/legendary and use the code SHR10 to save 10% off your purchase of tasty pastries. Now available in cookies and cream, red velvet cake, birthday cake, blueberry, strawberry, brown sugar cinnamon, and hot fudge sundae. Go to shrnetwork.biz/legendary and use code SHR10 today. More than 240 million Americans take supplements daily in pill form, but poor nutrient absorption means the promised results are rarely achieved. Healthy Cell uses a clinically proven patent-pending gel delivery system that increases absorption by 165% over pill form. Go to shrnetwork.biz/healthycell. That's HEALTHYCELL today and use the code SHR to save 20% off your purchase of Healthy Cell supplements. I would easily say that I am the hugest proponent you will ever meet to doing anything that will improve the quality of my sleep. And that's because sleep is linked to just about every metabolic disorder we see in our population today. One of the easiest things you can do to improve the quality of your sleep is to get a pillow that can be shaped into the exact form factor that allows you to get your best night's sleep. And that is My Pillow. I've been sleeping with My Pillow for a few years now, and I can tell you you that when I have to travel and stay in hotels, I don't get a good night's sleep because I don't have MyPillow with me. Right now, you can save up to 60% off of everything offered to improve the quality of your sleep at shrnetwork.biz/MyPillow when you use the code SHR. Or you can call toll-free 800-889-4938. And remember to use code SHR to save up to 60% off of everything at their website.
New Mass Pro Synthogen X2 just upped its own legendary game. To distance itself even further from the rest of the pack, Synthogen X2 now has double the key active ingredients. If you've ever wondered what steroid-like recovery feels like, Synthogen X2 delivers. See why others compare it favorably to powerful bodybuilding drugs at synthogen.com. Mass Pro Synthogen. When you train with it, you'll gain with it.
Plant medicine has become all the rage for mental optimization. Now there's an ancient plant medicine rapidly growing in popularity that experts believe might just be the alcohol of the future. It's called True Kava. Kava is a natural food-grade elixir that has been used for over 3,000 years by South Pacific Islanders as safe, non-addictive alternative to drugs and alcohol. By naturally boosting the brain's main feel-good chemicals, dopamine, serotonin, and GABA, Kava provides you with both increased relaxation and mental clarity at the same time. True Kava is a new form of stabilized full-spectrum traditional kava that is third-party lab tested for quality and safety. Go to shrnetwork.biz/true kava, and that's TRUKAVA, all one word, and use code SHR for 25% off today.
You're listening to the Superhuman Channel. We're ripped and we're ready.
Welcome back. So I put this post that I talked about today about if your biohacker guru that you follow has no appreciable muscle, doesn't talk about strength training and progressive overload, that you shouldn't follow them because they don't know anything about longevity. And Peter Lakatos and Will Brink are going back and forth on Facebook because Will said it doesn't have to be heavy. The weight doesn't have to be heavy. You can build muscle and strength with lightweight. And he's right to an extent, but the whole premise of overload is to continue to get heavier and heavier. And you can't do that without getting heavier and heavier.
That's why they call it progressive resistance training.
Yeah, I mean, I don't understand why everybody's afraid to. It's almost like, let's not use the word heavy because then no one will follow us. No one will listen to us. We have to tell them that they can get stronger using lightweight and high reps. And that's not true, because if that was true, God bless him, rest in peace, Louis Simmons would have been teaching guys to get stronger using light weights with high reps.
Right.
He was just about getting stronger, yep, and nothing else. And it's amazing to me because the more mainstream appeal you want to have in today's day and age in health, fitness, longevity, the more you have to lie and kowtow to people to get them to believe that you don't have to work hard to be stronger. And Derek Trombetta, my friend Derek Trombetta, posted on my Instagram page, this is so true. It all comes down to being harder to kill. And that really is what it is. We always talk about, this virus is so strong, it's resistant to the drugs. It's harder to kill. When you become strong, you become resistant. You become harder to kill.
Your immune system. And
everything. You can't build muscle without a well-functioning immune system. Joel Green just did a whole post about this. That 100%. If your gut is effed, then you're not going to add muscle.
100%. It came up the other day. I was talking about, for 2.5 years, haven't even had the sniffles. And my dad said it again. He said, "You're lucky." I said, "Bullshit. It's got nothing to do with luck. It's got everything to do with the fact that I work it. And as a result, I have a great immune system."
All right, well, let me get these out of the way, and then we'll do the blueprint tip of the day. So Taylor C says, here's my new business plan. Sell ejaculant and save your prostate at the same time. Actually good. Bill Bergman says, I should have Lyle McDonald on this podcast. I would never have Lyle McDonald on this podcast. Lyle McDonald is a fraud, and he only appeals to people who like being insulted by him. I actually invited him to come on the show in 2008. And he emailed me back. I still have the emails, and said, I'm gonna be vulgar here, but this is what he said to me. Why would I want to come on your show, you small-dicked asshole retard?
What?
Yeah.
Why would he say
For which,
something like that?
because he has a mental illness, and he admitted it a few years ago. He said, "Oh, I got bipolar," and everybody was supposed to forgive him. The internet was supposed to forgive him. There are so many smarter people out there than Lyle McDonald who you don't have to be insulted by. Go look at my my Apple Podcast comments and ratings, and you'll find his. And he does all the same insulting stuff out in the world for people to see. Calls me a retard and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
I wouldn't. I tell you what I will do. One day I will walk into Lyle McDonald at a function, and I will punk his fucking ass because he's nothing but a turd with legs.
I haven't heard that name in like 15 years now.
Yeah, he's nobody. I don't even understand why anybody cares about him. I mean, he's reinvents himself by writing a book here and there. But there are so many smarter people out there who won't insult you and are genuinely nice people to work with. Why would I give that guy a platform at all?
Yeah.
No, you could keep that. You could keep him. Chester LP says the diet question was for a friend. I rarely do diets because I don't have a car or a bike, and I walk to work, grocery. Good, you'll live forever.
The healthiest guy in the audience, bro.
That is the French paradox.
Yeah.
It's not that they drink wine and eat cheese. It's that they walk to and from the restaurants. They walk to and from work. They walk all day long.
Right, they move.
That's the French paradox. Yeah. Anyway. Okay, so we have the blueprint tip of the day, and I'm sure that someone will send this to Lyle, and he'll give me some shit on a platform like the little coward pussy that he really is, because that's what he is. He really is a coward pussy, and I will run into him someday. I will. What is the blueprint tip of the day?
Tip of the day is this: the FDA versus NAC, N-acetylcysteine. What is really going on? Because there have been some recent development. So a few months back, I was asked about the FDA's recent actions threatening NAC supplements, products, by the way, which the FDA has allowed on the market for decades. So the real question is, why now, after all these years, 30 to be precise, is the FDA doing this? And I didn't have to dig very deep to find out the answer. The FDA is clearing the market of affordable N-acetylcysteine supplements in an effort to eliminate competition for NAC drugs that will likely be coming to the market in the next few years. So let me just briefly recap how we got here. There was a slew of warning letters sent last year that the FDA sent, and they targeted a number of supplement companies marketing quote-unquote unapproved cures for hangovers, which the agency absurdly considers to be a disease. That's right, they consider hangover to be a disease. So some of these products contained NAC, and in the letters to those companies, the FDA stated that NAC does not meet the legal definition of a supplement because it was approved as a drug in 1963. And according to federal law, any substance approved as a drug before it was sold as a supplement cannot be sold as a supplement. And so all of this means that the status of NAC as a supplement is currently in dispute. So why is the FDA threatening it now, especially during a pandemic when it's been shown to be quite useful as an early or even late stage treatment for those infected? For starters, there's a drug company that's investigating NAC as a treatment for a rare genetic disorder that damages the myelin sheath, right, which insulates nerve cells in the brain. The phase 1 trial was completed in March 2020, and it continues to march on. But that's just the beginning. A search through the government's clinical trials database shows considerable interest from pharmaceutical industry, right, in NAC. In fact, right now as we speak, there are 17 trials, 17 ongoing, looking at N-acetylcysteine in both drug and supplement form in the treatment of COVID. Additionally, there are over 50 trials looking at it for a variety of other conditions, including autism, obsessive compulsive disorder, alcohol abuse, rhinosinusitis,
Yeah,
bronchiolitis.
Rhinitis, it's been used actually intranasally, and it's been shown to reduce the infection.
Right. And cardiac arrhythmia and on and on and on. So the FDA is setting the stage for a new NAC drug to come to market by removing the competition. Why? Because NAC supplements are dirt cheap. They did this same shit with ephedrine, and they're still trying to ban kratom. CBD supplements, they may very well face a similar fate if Congress doesn't force the FDA's hand by legalizing CBD and dietary supplements.
Well, and then and a first step just happened. We're waiting for the Senate, but that marijuana is going to be legalized federally for medicinal purposes and recreation in the states that want to have it, which is going to mean that a lot of these cannabis dispensaries will actually flourish because right now they have no place to deposit their money. Banks take them. Banks tell them, "Get your money out of here. You made it illegally with drugs," because of the Fed, because of FDIC and the Fed. So once the Fed approves that, then a lot of other things are going to go. Delta 9, Delta 8. There's now Delta 0. There's all sorts of new THC forms in cannabis. You're going to see them being introduced widespread probably in the next couple of years.
Yeah. Well, good if that's more choice for the consumer, right?
Right.
It is critically important to maintain access to NAC supplements as it is with CBD. And here's why, right? There was a recent life extension interview, right, with Dr. Daniel Amen. And he noted that NAC has shown promising results in people with bipolar disorder, schizophrenia, OCD, other addictions, also decreases inflammation, which we already knew, may help delay brain atrophy and Alzheimer's disease. Right? Like that's not needed. It also protects the body from toxins, generally speaking. It's a selective immune system enhancer, and we've known this too for a long time. It helps remove free radicals, which contribute to everything from neurodegenerative disease to aging. So in Europe, actually, NAC is a prescription medicine, and over there it's used to reduce congestion. As I've stated before on the show, it's also a precursor to glutathione, right, which is your body's most important endogenous antioxidant. And yes, there are other ways like liposomal glutathione, but the fight to keep NAC legal is still important, very, very important, right? Because I mean, it does so many things well.
I never knew this. So on YouTube,
Yeah.
DTOC Detox 369 said NAC is amazing. It helps tremendously the day after and throughout chemotherapy. That's a new one on me.
Yeah, no, I've seen that. Those studies have been out there for a while, showing that it really helps patients going through chemo and other cancer treatments. So most people might know it insofar as it's a first line treatment in hospitals for acetaminophen
Yeah,
overdoses.
Tylenol poisoning, right?
And I'll tell you, my dog Molly, not that long ago, swallowed I want to say 300 or 500 milligram, acetaminophen capsule. And I got to tell you, I'm glad we had glutathione or
NAC.
N-acetylcysteine here, right? So the question is, where are we today? On March 31st, just a few days ago, the FDA issued a quote-unquote final ruling on NAC, basically saying, "Hey, we feel we've got the power to ban it, and it's a drug, it's not a supplement, yada yada."
But it's naturally occurring, and I don't know how they're going to get that on. To tell you the truth.
And you know what? Presumably the FDA is there, right, for the benefit
Of
of
us.
public health.
Right.
So let me be very clear. There is no safety concern here with N-acetylcysteine, and there never has been. There was nothing that was harming the public that prompted, their actions on NAC. It's all goes back to protecting the drugs. It was an ingredient and still is an ingredient. It's been on the market for 30 years. And all of a sudden, the FDA comes in with a pen and paper and says,
Yeah, because it threatens their ability to sell vaccines. That's all this is about.
Right. It's like, we really don't like this anymore, so we're going to take it away. That is a very scary precedent, and I want you to let it sink in and think about that, because even if NAC isn't your cup of tea, so to speak, they're not going to stop there. Not when they have a precedent like that. So here's the bottom line. NAC is still out there for sale. It is anyone's guess, though, how quickly the FDA will move. Since they have, come down with this final ruling, they can probably move pretty quickly. However, lawsuits have already been filed against the FDA by several industry advocate organizations.
Good.
Yeah. And so the road ahead for them, and consequently for us, looks complex to say the least. But lawsuits will keep them busy, and let's be honest, the truth is on our side. Just know this, the FDA is at it again, and once more, their big pharma overlords dictate the terms. My advice would be, if you like it and you think it has value, stock up now, and write your congressman, because without that, nothing happens. Don't even bother with the FDA's quote-unquote public comment period. They're not going to read it. They've already made their decision on what they're going to do. This is another instance where it's vital that we stand up to government tyranny, whether that's vax mandates or taking away your right to use nutritional supplements, because take it from someone who knows and has seen it for the last 35, 40 years. This war never ends. They won't stop. So you need to commit to fighting the FDA and the other government agencies that are attempting to take your rights away. And you need to do that today with the understanding that it's going to be for a lifetime. Going way, way back to when I originally got into this market, I saw it. And I saw how they operate, and I've seen the dirty tricks that they use, the way they try to slip it into other legislation, like they did with the ephedra.
When no one's looking. Yeah.
When no one's looking. They commissioned their puppet RAND organization to come up with a bogus study about ephedrine deaths. I mentioned it last week. They counted a death where a kid was decapitated in a car accident. Yes, they attributed that to ephedrine, believe it or not, because he took it earlier in the day or the day before or something like that. They never stop.
Isn't it funny that when people die shortly after getting vaccines, they never
doesn't count.
Yeah, that doesn't count. Well, no, you can't prove that was from the vaccine. Well, it happened the next day. Well, you can't. Oh, this guy was driving a car after using ephedra and was decapitated. The ephedra made him drive crazy and decapitate himself. And, you know what? I got to believe Democrat, Republican, liberal, whatever the hell you are, everybody's got to be tired of government overreach and wanting to inject themselves in every aspect of our lives. Everybody has to be tired of that.
Well, most sane people are. And the reason I say that is there is a subcomponent of our population that has been conditioned and actually likes to be told what to do, when to do it. And so they offload all of that responsibility to someone else. Let's be honest. It takes a little work to actually research a nutritional supplement that you want to use, or a drug, or what have you. Right. There are still people like my dad who spent more time doing due diligence on the big screen TV that he bought from Costco versus getting the vaccine.
Right.
And that's
I know.
It's a sad truth, but it's the truth.
Taylor C. concurs with you. He says, sadly, there's a growing population that wants to be completely governed. Yeah. And then, let's see, Thomas Whittingham says, Reefer Madness. Yeah, remember that? That was a great movie. We were told that, if you smoke reefer, you were going to go mad and have sex and do all these crazy things. And really what it does is just put you to sleep and make you forget to go to work in the morning. I mean... Reefer Madness. Yeah, I remember Reefer Madness. I remember watching that movie in high school. I think, and I'm pretty sure I was stoned because I was always stoned when I was in high school. So I was sitting there laughing and thinking, reefer madness. I'm going to go out and smoke them a pot now. I was such a stoner in high school that none of the girls wanted to be bothered with me. None of them.
Some people fall in love with it and they never stop.
Well, I mean, I outgrew it. When I moved to Las Vegas, I really outgrew it. I continued to do cocaine when I lived in Vegas, but I outgrew tripping. I outgrew smoking pot every day because I used to do that. I used to smoke pot every day when I was in high school, and I used to trip like at least a few times a month. But it's like none of the girls were interested in Carl. Like I know what they looked. Oh, he's a stoner. He's a stoner.
Well, how do you bring him home? He smells like pot.
No, I smelled some horse shit because I worked on the racetrack, and horses don't know you're stoned. So it was a great life for me. I was like, I would go to work in the morning stoned out of my mind, and like the horses didn't know.
Right, no drug testing. No.
So I was a stoner, and I smelled like horse shit. That sounds like the kind of guy you want your daughter to bring home, right?
It's a good thing Elisa didn't know you back then. Right?
No, she wouldn't have had nothing to do with it. She's such a straight arrow. Like I really think that she did grow up in the same neighborhood that Leave It to Beaver grew up in. Because
she's a good balance for you then.
Yeah, she is so sweet and like innocent. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
And then there's me. Who's done every horrible thing in life twice.
So, you're still standing.
Yeah, and I'm going to stand for a long time because it's all about building muscle, baby. So get yourself a biohacker that actually has some muscle and follow that.
ARX machine.
An ARX machine, yeah.
Right.
All right, look, great show today. Go to CoachRobRegish.com to learn more. Horn Frog said today was a fun show. Yeah, it was.
Yeah, it was great.
I had a lot of laughs. And we'll see you tomorrow with more Superhuman Radio. Thanks for being here today. Take care, Rob.
Thank you.
All right. See you tomorrow.